the factions, does look like we're going to have our blue player Killerinu as the Dark Elves, and then we're going to be seeing the red player as the Empire. This is a good matchup. Historically favored to the Dark Elves, but I think in recent meta shifts it's become a lot more even, if not Empire favored. So, going over the armies quickly as the battle is live, we're going to start with the mobility, get them out of the way. We have 4 Pistoliers for the Empire on their left flank stacked up. We're going to have 4 Knights of the Blazing Sun by the looks of it, and then we're going to have 4 Spearmen, or Swordsmen. Got a Warrior Priest down here on foot with Soulfire. Up in the air, we do have Karl Franz, Hammer of Sigmar, with the Reichland Runefling, Gal Miraz, as well as Stand Your Ground, Hold the Line, and Blood Roar. Other than that, do we have a caster? Yes, we do. A Jade Wizard with Regrowth and Earthblood. Now, for the Dark Elves, we very clearly have at least 1 Reaper Bolt Thrower. It looks like we have 2, in fact. Going to see some Dark Shards with shields. Looks like we're going to have 2 of them. We have the Helebrone Poison Spears. We have Dread Spears, 2 of them up front with 2 Black Ark Corsairs, and then we have a backline protected by 3 Cold One Knights, a little bit bunched up. Would like to see them spread out a little bit, and it looks like our Dark Elf player is doing a nice job, though, of kind of turning to face the Pistoliers. We will see if he can successfully address them, or if he's going to have a hard time protecting that backline. Up in the air, we do see 2 Feral Manticores and the Supreme Sorceress of Fire. She's going to have Burning Head Fireball, and that pretty much rounds it out. Now, Reaper Bolt Thrower is doing massive damage on top of these Knights of the Blazing Sun. They are down to about half health and have taken no model damage, though. So, going to be curious to see if the Empire here just heals these guys right back up, because at full models, keep in mind, they can heal back to 100%. But now it does look like they're going to start suffering those model casualties if they keep taking those bolts to the face. But still, a very curious choice not to have them on their anti-large bolt fire mode. Oh, Burning Head going through the Blazing Knights of the Blazing Sun, doing a surprising amount of damage, actually. You know, nothing to scoff at, but I did think they had some kind of fire resistance, but it looks like in any case the Kindle Flame of passive effect is going to negate it nonetheless. Over here, going to be seeing the Cold One Knights diving into the back line, getting on top of these Pistoliers, trying to rout them, successfully routing a couple, but I think it's opening them up to a big side charge, and in we see the Knights of the Blazing Sun coming in, getting unopposed charges off into the flank of these Cold Ones, and I think that's really going to cost the Dark Elves not returning the charge there. But even as I say that, we see some of these Knights of the Blazing Sun already beginning to waver. We see these Knights of the Blazing Sun, however, coming in full health, going to be hitting these Black Ark Corsairs in the rear, but actually not getting a charge order, perhaps having a charge order on top of one of the cab units, and just kind of walking into the Black Ark Corsairs, so neither unit getting a charge bonus there. Meanwhile, in the front line engagements, looks like the Swordsmen are beginning to break through. Dread Spears just torn to pieces, Black Ark Corsairs taking a Soulfire on top of their heads. And over here, this battle going to the Spearmen, or I guess it could be breaking even, but still not going the way of the Dark Elves for the most part across that board. We have the Helebrone now being committed into engagement against the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Karl Franz is chasing a Feral Manticore. Supreme Sorceress of Fire is not looking too healthy. Down below half health, and she's going to be taking a charge, perhaps. Oh, he's not going to get the hit off. It's going to be a whiff, and the Supreme Sorceress of Fire will live to fight another day. Well, I guess I shouldn't say another day, another minute in this battle or so. Knights of the Blazing Sun successfully routing off the Cold One Knights, and now, with the Empire having, yeah, what I would say, pretty convincing mobile supremacy on the battlefield, it's going to be difficult for the Dark Elves to bring it back. Dark Shards are alive for now, but who knows how much longer. Burning Head going through all of these Pistoliers, though, and that's going to be enough to hurt their leadership, cause them to tear a rout from the Feral Manticore that's in combat. And these Dark Shards desperately trying to find a moment's reprieve to turn around and focus fire these Empire cav units, but they're just not finding it. This one already getting engaged. We see one round going off here, but at the end of the day, it just looks like the Empire's in a very strong place here, led by AC Moore. Here comes another Soulfire. hitting those Black Ark Corsairs, even catching the right flank of the Bretonnia. But across the board, the Dark Elves not looking as strong as they did a minute earlier, and I think that's going to continue. So let's go ahead and get in for some cinematics as the Empire and the Dark Elves duke it out here in the sandy dunes in the shadow of the pyramids. Warrior Priest hacks away at these Dread Spears and Black Ark Corsairs. And there it is. A valiant defeat to Killerinu and a GG to AC Moore, taking that first victory, making this a 1-0 game for him. 1-0 lead, I guess I shouldn't say game. The game continues in round 2. Okay, look at this. Wow. Okay, I'm going to pause this one because let's talk about just starting off with a bang. Wood Elves are going for a very heavy Vanguard build. But let's start with their opponents, the Tomb Kings here in blue. So, going to have Skeleton Horse Archers, 2 Nehekara Horsemen, and it looks like we'll have the same thing repeated on the right flank, Skeleton Horse Archers, Nehekara Horsemen, with the addition of an extra Skeleton Horse Archer. ADM6, thank you so much for the follow, my friend. Hope you're enjoying the content. Let me know if you have any feedback. Now, 2 Nehekara Horsemen. Okay, I already covered those guys. Now, for the infantry, Skeleton Spearmen going to be making up that front line. Looks like we have 5 of them with a single Skeleton Warrior backing them up. We are going to be looking here at some Ushabti Great Bows, as well as the ROR Ushabti Great Bows, the Chosen of the Gods. Bit more of an anti-infantry variant there. Now, for the leadership, we're going to be seeing a Tomb Prince riding a horse. Got that halberd as usual, and he is going to have Blade of Setep. Now, riding his chariot into battle, we see Archon the Black. He's going to have the Tomb Blade of Archon, Staff of Nagash, the Liber Mortis, along with Doom and Darkness, Spirit Leech, and Life Leeching. So, going over here to the Wood Elves and kicking it into slow motion, we are going to be seeing Wild Riders. I love them. Wild Riders! Along with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 units of Dryads. Dryads, a nice pick. Got the Vanguard, good damage output. Do magical damage, and yeah, generally high weapon strength against a overall low armor infantry factions. Tomb Guard will wreck them, though. Now, over here, way off in the boonies, we're going to be seeing Wild Riders. And then over here, we see the ROR Wild Rider. Oh, no, just kidding. The ROR Great Stag Knights going to be the Lost Sylvan Knights. So, rounding out the rest of this army, we have no missile units. Just want to point that out. And we are going to be seeing husband and wife, Orion, and Ariel. Ariel's going to have her usual kit, Berry Wine Acorn, Soul Stealer. Oh my goodness gracious. Apotheosis. And then Orion, going to have Hawk's Talon, Hounds of Orion, the usual kit. So here we go. Wood Elves have dived forward into combat. Already you can see that this Tomb King cheap infantry is not having a good day. Going to see the Skeleton Spearmen over here who were first engaged crumbling and losing decisively to these Dryads who are just smashing them. And then across the rest of the line, I think you're seeing something similar. Over here, the Tomb King stacking their left flank and crushing those Dryads. But while they were doing that, you see a lot of Wild Riders getting into the back lines, But what will they accomplish in those backlines? I'm not sure. But oh my goodness, now this could be a big play, as we do see the Lost Sylvan Knights diving in for a rear charge on top of these Nakar Horsemen. They did get Spirit Leeched, but Ariel is nearby. She can clearly heal them up quite easily if she needs to. And man, oh man, look at these Nakar Horsemen just crumbling. Over here, a Skeleton Summon coming down from Archon the Black, but will it be enough? Hawk's Talon going down on these Skeleton Warriors, doing a good bit of damage. And checking back in on the frontline engagements, it's actually gotten a lot more even as the Tomb King successfully buckled the Wood Elf right flank and were able to overwhelm and envelop these Dryads. But in the back lines, it's going to the Wood Elves. They're definitely taking some casualties, taking some damage, but the Great Stag Knights are still very, very healthy, only lost 2 models. You have Orion and Ariel still healthy as can be. And my big concern for the Tomb King army here is without Ushabti Greatbow, they're going to have a hard time taking out Orion and Ariel. They are tanky. Alright, we see that the Dryads are idle. They definitely need to get moving in here. Don't want to ever lose time like this. Time is money, time is value. Over here, Ushabti Greatbows, though, look at this. They have successfully found a perch at the top of the battlefield. They have a nice 360 degree of fire across any units they need to. Over here, Wild Riders hitting these Skeleton Horse Archers and are crushing them. None of the Tomb King infantry is reacting to support them. And Tomb Kings really need to be microing these units to stay alive here. Over here, Skeleton Spearmen and the Skeleton Warriors are now coming out to block the advance of Orion and the Dryads. And that's going to buy much needed time for the Ushabti Greatbows to get damage done. Will it be enough? Remains to be seen. So let's go ahead and see what happens from here. But it does look like the Wood Elves have successfully cleaned up everything in the back lines. And now the battle is pretty much shifted in a clockwise fashion. So we're going to be facing a completely different way as the 2 armies redress their lines. Hounds of Orion going down. Not doing the most damage, but still, every little bit counts. And there's not much infantry left for Orion to cast it on. Where the hell is that Tomb Prince? Oh, here he is. Tomb Prince has actually probably been murdering Wild Riders this entire battle, and I just haven't noticed it, so want to keep an eye on him. He is quite healthy, and he will be a good answer to at least Ariel. I think Orion could probably take it on in combat, considering he is, you know, an anti-large armor piercing combatant as well. Lost Sylvan Knights continuing to get Spirit Leeched, and now the Skeleton Horse Archers just continuing to kite and harass them, wearing them down slowly but surely. Berry Wine going down on top of them, restoring 1300 HP and 100% vigor. Like, look at these guys. A Blade of Setep on top of them. Definitely helping a lot. I like that Blade of Setep use with the minus 22% physical resistance. That makes a big difference on these ethereal units. Up here on top of the hill, Wood Elves are just kind of mopping up the remainder of the Tomb King infantry as they crumble away. Really no contest between Dryads and Skeleton Warriors. You need to get to that Tomb King, that Tomb Guard level before the Wood Elf infantry can then really shine in the infantry engagements. Acorn of the Oak of Ancients going down on these Skeleton Horsemen Archers. Nakar Horsemen look like they're getting crumbled out now. Lost Sylvan Knights look like they may rout. Mechanic that still cracks me up about them. You're already dead. Don't run away. Tomb King's making some gains up here against the Dryads. Looks like they're going to be able to successfully break them. Oh, but here comes another Hounds of Orion, and that's going to be very painful because this is all very lightly armored, densely packed Tomb King units, and those Skeleton Horsemen Archers are just not enjoying it at all. And based on the balance of power and the health of the leadership, I think this is going to be a Wood Elf victory, unless this is the most epic comeback of the century. Lost Sylvan Knights are getting successfully eliminated, though. Yeah, there it goes. Was that the Ushapti summon that had never gone down yet? We may never know. I mean, Orion getting a buttload of value. Dryads doing alright. I think there's some good micro from the Tomb Kings there, especially when they just crushed that flank. As Nehekar Horseman on the charge can definitely do some good damage to Dryads, no doubt about it. Horseman Archers, I think, are just a wonderful pick. Perhaps the best skirmish cav in the game, just because they're undead nature. Other than that, though, I mean, I think both players played it very well. I think this Tomb King army was putting up a hell of a fight, especially after a bit of a rocky start with the Wild Riders just rushing the backline so quickly. But gotta give him a shout out. He did dish out a ton of damage, and for the most part, these Wild Riders just, I mean, none of them did get their value, technically speaking. So, very good game, and let's see what happens in round 3, because guess what, folks? It's tied up. Alright, for this final battle in their best of 3, going to see Peasant Mob, 1, 2, 3 of them up front. We got Men-at-Arms. We're going to see Peasant Bowmen, looks like 2 fire arrows, 1 pox arrow. Men-at-Arms. Grail Knights, 1, 2. Questing Knights, 1, 2. And then we're going to have Grail Guardians on top of the Fae with 2 Paladins, also on steeds. 1 will have Guardian. Fae Enchantress is going to have the Chalice of Potions. Let me kick it in a pause really quick before we get too far into the action. Chalice of Potions favor the Fae, Arcade Conduit, and Earthblood with the Mist of the Lady. Now that rounds out the Bretonnians. So for the Vampires, it does look like we have Dire Pack Wolves and some Dire Wolves vanguarded in the rear, hidden. Nice choice on this small map where they may need to eat up a lot of Peasant Archers. We're going to have Blood Knights on either flank and in the center. So 3 Blood Knights, no small investment at 1,700 a pop, but they are excellent cavalry. We're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zombies, 2 skeleton spearmen, and then we're going to have ourselves some White Kings with Scab Scrap, because that's just kind of a given now. And then look at this, Manfred von Karstein on a barded steed. He's going to be bringing the Master of the Black Arts, Raise Dead, Van Hell's Dance Macabre, Invocation from Nehek, Soul Blight, Spirit Leech, and the Sword of Unholy Power. Then we do have the Mortis Engine in the rear, and that rounds out both of these armies. So let's kick it into play and see what happens. Alright, looks like the Bretonnians going in for some quick charges. And here we go, Questing Knights, both of them diving into the Blood Knights. Their armor piercing is significant, and it is a 2v1 engagement, although I would have loved to have seen one go this way and one wrap around. But nonetheless, a lot of damage getting done there. We will see if they can remove themselves from combat before they take too much damage, though. In favor of the Fae going on top of them as they retreat, which is definitely a mistake. It's a boost to melee attack. You only want to be popping that when they're actually in combat, not when they're disengaging. Over here on the right flank, we're going to be seeing the Grail Knights versus the Blood Knights, and it does look like it's going to the Grail Knights, but they too are going to have to pull off. And oh, look at that, the Grail Guardians are in there too. As the Skeleton Spearman support comes in, though, the Bretonnian's going to wisely pull out of it. Right now, it does look like the zombies are slowly but surely making their way to the frontline engagements. Over here, Questing Knights. That favor of the Fade just barely ran out, by the way. And oh no, the Bretonnians are not seeing it. Okay, never mind. There they go, seeing the Scurvy Dogs come in, going on top of the Peasant Archers, and it looks like they will be able to successfully intercept them and shut them down before they can do too much damage. Over here, the Bretonnian Cavalry running back once again, fleeing from the Blood Knights and Manfred. Not a bad idea. I think the farther they get away from the Skeleton Spearmen, the better. But a big problem right now is these Questing Knights are going to be opened up for a big charge from the Blood Knights unless they turn around quickly. But I mean, as I say, that Blood Knights have not hooked in to actually take advantage of the fact that those Questing Knights weren't facing them. So missed opportunity there perhaps for the Vampire accounts, but they do have the lead in the balance of power. And I think they're playing this very smart in the sense that all of their key units are still alive and well. Mortis Engine has kept a respectful distance from the Peasant Bowmen. The White Kings doing what they do best, which is just chop up peasant infantry slowly but surely and scrap them. And over here, this looking like perhaps the only engagement that is a bit iffy for them, with Manfred von Karstein actually in the center of this Bretonnian blob and taking a ton of damage. And now there's Questing Knights coming in, and we will see. But, ooh, a beautiful Chalice of Potions actually going down on top of the Skeleton Spearmen, a very important unit, so always like to see that. But, I mean, what's going to happen here? Right now, these Blood Knights are critical binding. The Noble, the Fae, everybody is in here on top of Manfred von Karstein doing some good work. But, oh no, here it comes. Blood Knights with the rear charge into the Bretonnians. Is this going to be enough to save Manfred von Karstein's life? 2 full health Blood Knights basically charging in here. And now this is when the Vampire accounts can turn this battle around. Mortis Engine looks like it's getting ready to come over and support too. Paladin over here is still chasing that Mortis Engine, and it looks like both players have just settled in for the blob engagement right here. But I think the Bretonnians are going to lose it inevitably here. Grail Guardians should hang in there for a long time with the Paladin and the Fae, but you have the Mortis Engine in here, and it is nowhere close to being killed. Meanwhile, a Paladin has gotten isolated, pinned in place by Blood Knights, and you have a White King in here helping those Blood Knights out. And man, oh man, what a battle this is turning into. Questing Knights taking on some Blood Knights out here on the peripheries. Not sure which one's going to come out on top. I mean, in sustained combat, I'd usually bet on Questing Knights over most cav units, if not all. But, oh no, they're actually going to pull through now. And, oh, more Blood Knights coming in to intercept these Questing Knights and chase them off as the Blood Knights, who they just relieved, now take their turn diving into the central engagement. Over here, Manfred hanging in there, taking a lot of damage, but he's just barely reaching that healing cap. Does look like the Bretonnians are hanging in there here. The Paladin, the Fae Enchantress, proving to be a very tough combo for Manfred to take on by himself. But the balance of power continues to go against the Bretonnians here, so just not sure how much longer their leadership can hold up. Wow. That caused my frame rates to drop, but oh no, look at this! The Fae Enchantress taking a ton of damage in very quick succession. It looks like the White King and Manfred able to kind of sandwich her there, and now the Paladin, although he's still full health, he's just lost the Fae. Now, will he be able to go save her or not is the question. Over here, Manfred is in hot pursuit. Blood Knights, while they're crumbling, are still going to be enough to slow this Paladin down. And the Fae Enchantress is very close to the edge of the map, ladies and gentlemen. If the Fae goes, I think the Bretonnians' hopes go with her. And there she is, crossing the white... You Fae, look at that. She is not done yet. She is coming over here, immediately throwing an Earthblood on top of her homies. And man, oh man, the Fae ain't done yet. What a moment. Paladins are both diving into that Mortis Engine now and making it pay. White King's coming in to hit these Paladins in the back with some Blood Knight supporting. Mortis Engine is taking a ton of damage, though. Fae Enchantress deciding she has to get engaged here, but I think that was a mistake, and one big hit from Manfred is enough to send her packing for good. And there she goes. A glorious victory to AC Moore, and a huge shout out to XMT Killerinu for some beautiful games there. Thank you both for some excellent play. That's going to be a great replay up on YouTube. Yeah. When did Manfred become Vlad? You know? I guess I missed that. But yeah, beautiful armies on both players' account. Fan Enchantress, tons of value. That Mortis effect is just so valuable. I think that Chalice of Potions also got some good damage in. I mean, look at that. 15,000 HP damage dealt. Paladins both paying for themselves too. Peasant Mob, God bless you. I mean, really good Scurvy Dog play too in the back line. I mean, one of them did get killed off pretty early because of the Questing Knights, but I mean, at the end of the day, how many arrows did we see the peasants dispense of? They got shut down pretty hard. And the Mortis Engine play too, just really on point there, keeping the distance, the spacing nice, not ever really leaving it in a position to get sniped until the very late game when it was pretty much too late for the Bretonnians to pull it back. Bretonnian Cav, though, across the board, doing very well for himself. I mean, this guy, the only one who didn't get his value back, and some of these guys, well, I guess technically these two didn't either, but I think they are holding it and doing a good job. Over here, though, look at that 1,700 gold value. Just beautiful stuff. Hey.
Will you come lend me your nose for a moment?
Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. I have to go lend my nose to an investigation. Blood Knights across the board. Beautiful. God, goodness gracious, what an excellent round 3 in this best of 3. GG to both players.